Hey guys, so today we're going to work on a car I've teased about once in another video that no one probably watched. Since I got the Touareg and my son got my car, my wife ended up with car envy, which we knew was happening because the Acadia is getting pretty tired. So she found this 2017 Golf Alltrack, mostly based on interior color. She was looking for another Touareg because she resigned the fact that that's a pretty nice car and she could deal with one of them, but the one she went to look at was kind of hogged up, and I think all the diesels have been snapped up by now. But this was sitting next to it, so it's a 17. It's got 40,000 miles on it. It's a Golf Alltrack. They've previous owner debadged the back, so it just says TSI 4Motion, but it's what it is. So part of the 40,000 mile service is the DSG direct shift gearbox, transmission fluid and filter change, as well as an engine oil change. So we got a whole box of parts right here, so let's get after it. I have these 4x6s that I drive on for the lift. Likely could get away without them for this car, but makes it easier getting the lift supports under it. Here goes. This is the first time I've actually lifted this car up. It's pretty clean. I mean, I looked under it at the dealer, but a little closer here. So this belly pan's gonna have to come off, and it appears to have hex bolts and Torx bolts all around it. The hexes are 13s, the Torx are T25s. So let's get those out. Safety glasses may have been a good idea. I don't know how much crap's going to be on top of this thing. Not a lot. Anyway, so there's our plastic oil pan. This is a first for me, but I guess it's pretty common. Plastic oil pan, plastic drain plug. It has a slot in it and like a locking tab, so I think this is going to turn like 1 1/4 times or something, and kind of twist out and open the screwdriver. I do not like the way that fits, so I'm going to get one that's, let's see, maybe, yeah, get a bigger one. Alright, so it's going to turn. So it has really coarse threads in an O-ring from what I understand. Down the hole. I would recommend before you start draining, pull the drain plug because that seals pretty well. It wasn't wanting to drain. It is a 32. Based on what I learned on the Touareg with this upside down oil filter setup, go ahead and leave the drain plug out because this is going to capture some oil here. So after this vacuum's broken, there'll be a big slug of oil unleashed from this. There's an O-ring down here that seals this. There should be a new one in the new oil filter. There's the filter, but the only one I could find locally. I'm sure some purist is getting ready to put some comments in there right now, but I've run these in my GTI and they've had no problems. It's all the way down in there, and there is a new O-ring in here. Just work that down into the groove. roll that around to make sure it's not twisted in there. I'm going to put a little fresh oil on it. Oil from my oil can. That thing is hot. .25 plus 5 Newton meters. Let me get the torque wrench. It's about 27 Newton meters there. So this drain plug just has a slot, and like I said, it's like a quarter turn, and it has a little tab right here that lets you know when to stop. When it comes around, it locks into position. My patience is wearing thin, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back in, even though it's dripping a little bit still. If I can get it in the hole, there we go. There, it just drops in. Guess that should end stripped out drain plugs. This engine calls for VW 502 spec oil, which this Mobile 10W40 meets that spec. So I made that oil fill hole awful small. Let's see how much of a mess I can make. This car's too clean. I don't want to risk it. I'm going to find a funnel. Lucky for me, Harbor Freight had a sale a while back. They had funnels. Somehow I have misplaced, or the dogs have chewed up most of ours. So we'll go with this. I'm going to start with 5 quarts and run the car and top it off from there. Nothing pouring out the bottom. So next we will tackle the DSG service, which apparently involves draining the fluid and then removing the battery, and underneath the battery is a DSG filter. So let's get set up for that. So right here on the bottom of the transmission is a drain plug for the DSG. It is a 14 millimeter hex. I just so happened to have one from when I was a mechanic. I think Mercedes differentials use that. That's a snap-on tool. I'm sure I paid a lot of money for that then. I can't imagine what that thing costs now. So it's my understanding that a little bit of fluid is going to come out now. But not the whole thing. And it's actually kind of more than I expected. So I'm going to let that drain for a little bit. So that was interesting. Let me wipe the camera off. Wipe myself off too. So the majority of that is drained out, and that was my understanding. Up inside here is another drain plug, like a funnel, and that is supposedly an 8 millimeter, which it is. I was under the impression I needed a really long one, and I had this one. Again, another snap-on one. I think I got it for working on Porsche 944s. So that thing is going to thread out of there, and then apparently this is where you really unleash the fury. So, based on the last experience, I'm going to try to get back. So now we will allow that to drain, and then we will go above and remove the battery, etc., to be able to get to the filter. While that drains, it's air box and battery out of here. These are T25 so far. Alright, that was kind of a pain. So that's out. Yeah. Maybe. Yes. Over on this side there's another adapter, and that you just squeeze these little ears and that thing popped right off. Easiest one yet. So there we go. Just set that to the side. Still not crazy about that thing. We'll see if that gets in the way. Next, we'll disconnect the battery. Those are 10 millimeters. Next we get 13. Looks as though you can put two different size batteries in this car based on that. Found that out with my GTI a while ago. This battery's a 9 of 19, so it's pretty new, which is odd for a battery to die that early. Now apparently this whole battery tray needs to come out of here. Those are 10s or Torx, it looks like. We'll go with the 10. There's apparently one over here somewhere. Underneath the battery. Positive battery cable. It's way down this hole right here. There's a little plastic clamp. No, it's metal. It's clamping the positive cable to the tray. I guess it goes to the fuse box. That thing is pissing me off. That's off. Back here in the back, I think that's a filter, perhaps. Can you even see that? Tab on top you push and it'll slide off. In the back right here to the strut tower appears to be another 10 millimeter. This one back here looks like a nut. And it appears to be slotted. So I think this will come out now. Yeah. Drops down. There we go. Way down there is our DSG filter. What do you think that is? 22? 24. Dang, that was good. Alright, so that is a 24. So I suspect when I crack this loose, it's going to puke out some more fluid. So the drain pan is still under the car. That's odd, it's puking it out the top. Well, I've already made a mess under there anyway, so it's a little more fluid to clean up. There it goes. So I guess the key would be to lift up quickly to allow it to drain itself. There's our replacement unit. I'm guessing that's pronounced Mila. I had German in high school, but that was over 30 years ago. Looks different than the original one, but they go through all kinds of... They're telling you they're the same. I want to assure you that that original one we took out with the honeycomb had 2 versions, and then they say this is... Anyway, this is what we have to put in there. Did come with a new O-ring. It's like the oil filter. So that thing just pops in there, I assume. And then same deal with the housing. Get that O-ring off there. New one goes on. Should be plenty lubed. I didn't see a tightening torque on that. Being that's an O-ring fit and seal, you don't need to go crazy. You're not really compressing anything. Just gonna hand tighten it. That should be fine. I'll wipe all this fluid that barfed off everywhere, and then I will put the battery tray and airbox back in. So as you're following along at home, I struggled to get this thing out. When I was putting it back, I determined when it fell apart that it is 2 pieces. So this piece is far easier to manipulate now that it's 2 pieces. You kind of just slide it down in there. That locks in there. Then I don't trap that hose under there. That pops right in. Back underneath the vehicle. I'm gonna take this overflow tube funnel looking thing, and that will thread back up in there. Just needs to be hand tight because this other plug actually captures that, so that thing really can't go anywhere anyway. Finger tight. So now that we have that funnel drain plug, whatever you want to call it, back in, we need to put the fluid in. That fluid goes in from the bottom, so you need to pump it or drain it in through a funnel. There's a bunch of options on the internet for pumps, etc. I went ahead and I found this on Amazon, partially because it came with all the adapters. So there's an adapter for various different transmissions, and this one right here, you probably can't read it, but that's the DSG one. I plan on changing the Touareg too, and it uses something like that. So these are like $20 by themselves. I figured that pump fluid filler could be used for various things. And it looks like, let me make sure I get the right one. That says CVT, we don't need that. So yeah, there's the DSG. That'll plug into this quick connect. So this will screw up in the bottom of the transmission. Just like so, and then our hose will connect to there. That is the fill hole. So this is Liqui Moly dual clutch gearbox oil. Got this on eBay with 5 liters of fluid in the filter. I don't know, it kind of smells like dead fish to me, but it's not It's not red automatic transmission fluid, it's kind of a clear color. You'll see it in just a second. Oh! So this is 3 quarts apparently, and we had 3 liters, and the difference between the metric system, anyway, it won't all fit. So the floor gained a little of that, but I don't think that's a problem. Based on the fill procedure, we will actually drain some of this out, which seems kind of ridiculous, but anyway. So this has a pump. I guess we tighten this lid right here, tighten this down. Oh, it started shooting it out already. Luckily there's a valve, so we will pressurize this. So this is a quick connect. It should snap on the bottom here. We should be able to open the valve. It should squirt all this in there. So we'll pump all that in, and then we'll add the other 2 and a piece quarts, liters, excuse me. All the fluid's pumped in, what I could get in there anyway. So now I need to remove, this is a little bit crazy, I don't know why they can't just put a freaking dipstick in anymore. Pull the tool out, unscrew all this, and then at the same time put the drain plug back in so you don't lose what you just pumped in. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with the hex. I'm pretty sure if I unplug this, fluid's going to run out too, so let's get it close. Okay. Now we tighten this drain plug apparently. Doesn't need to go crazy tight on it because we will be back in there in a moment. So to properly set the fluid level, you need to measure the temperature. I have this OBD11 adapter where I can get into the car's computer essentially and read the transmission temperature. So I'm going to get that set up and I'll bring you back when we're running. So I have my OBD11 adapter connected to the car. Finally, I don't know why this is so problematic. So I need to go to transmission. Still glare. Anyway, I want live data, and there's all kinds of data, but I want to search. So we're going to search transmission fluid temperature, and there it is at the top. We'll select that, hit OK, and it should communicate. It says the transmission fluid temperature is 45 C. So apparently the setting level in this car is between 35 C and 45 C. It's based on expansion. I'm going to go ahead and start it, and then we'll see if it calms down and what it gets to. So based on that, I'm going to let it sit for a little while and hopefully cool down some more. I'm a little nervous setting it for the first time at already the max range, if that makes sense. So the transmission fluid temperature is now at 44 C, which is 1 degree below the max checking temperature, but hasn't cooled down much. So we're going to go ahead and do the setting procedure now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the car and take the big drain plug out, and apparently transmission fluid is going to pour out, and then once it becomes to a steady drip, we put the plug back in and tighten it and we're done. sitting right at 44C, by the way. Obviously that fluid is going to expand as it gets warmer. So I don't want to falsely coax it into letting too much out. So I'm going to take a guess and say that's good right there. There's a torque spec, but tight enough, should be okay. All right. One thing I do like about this car, it's all this plastic here. This lift point, they have a removable plastic cover that you can pull off so you don't have to, like, because my lift won't reach out all the way to the drip rail or the pinch wheel out here at the rocker panel. So this panel comes off. Now if I can just remember how the hell I got it off there. Anyway, it slides in somehow. Like something like that. And then there is a screw. Okay, so we're done with that. There's probably some other inspections, fluid checks I need to do, but generally it all looked pretty good. So my 15-year-old daughter is going to back it out of the garage because she just turned 15 and is eligible to get her learner's permit, but based on this global pandemic, everything's shut down. So she's itching to drive, so she's going to back it out. Okay, go ahead. You can go for a little test drive if you want. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and see you soon.